How you doing, Hayden? How you
Hey,
doing?
thanks, Dr. Ed.
How you doing?
How are you?
Doing well. Anything bringing you today? Anything today in your back?
Yeah, I mean, definitely my neck and upper back area.
Some soreness?
Yeah.
Tension? How many years were you officer?
I've been with the sheriff's office for 13 years.
Okay. And how many of those years, do you still wear a vest or?
No, not anymore. I wore a vest for about 11 and a half, almost 12 years.
So this is a good case of why what I do in my office is to help unlock. Go and turn around for me. You know, the vest binds up this chest here. How far down do you think it goes? I mean,
like mid to lower
even
back.
lower.
Right there, yeah.
So right about from here till probably up into his upper back, this area for most of the day is pretty well held, protected.
Right.
And because it's protected, this area doesn't seem to do much work. And then the lower back, for any officer, takes extra pressure, not only because they're sitting. How many hours a day would you say an average?
I mean, we work 12-hour shifts on the road, and I mean,
So
it's a lot of sitting.
a majority of it's
Yeah.
spent sitting, and so the sitting coupled with, you know, like weightlifters wear a bracer on their lower back to protect, you know, their lower back because their lower back is being overworked, and so they put a lumbar brace on. You know, our neighbor wears that can wear a back brace on his lower back because he's a UPS driver, and so the bracing protects an area, but the vest protects the area that doesn't ever wear out anyway, and so that vest, even though we obviously need it for protection, it's a big part of why a lot of officers, in my opinion, have back problems or have tension. You'll feel pain above and below. So this area hurts here.
Oh, yeah.
This area hurts here, and it's because the brace and then the sitting, the forward posture from sitting, just feeds all that. All right, bend both the knees for me. So we're just gonna try to loosen up that middle back a little bit. Take one deep breath in for me. Head back for me. Exhale. I got you. Keep exhaling. Very good. Very good. Breathe in deep. Exhale. There we go. Good. One more time. Here we go. I know. Exhale. Chin down. Oh, a little piece of that one. There we go. All right. Deep breath in. Look over this shoulder. Exhale. There we go. There we go. Oh. There we go. Other side for me. All right. Almost there. All right. Good. Face that for me. There we go. Let me see where these bones are. Everything's out to the right a little bit here. Everything's over to the right. I got you. Just gonna try to loosen up this side a little bit. I got you. Let this side go right. There we go. Okay, a little tight there. I got you. Let this left side go. There we go. Yeah. Ooh, we got work to do. I got you. Let this side go. There we go. Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's a little tight today. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, the vast amount of time spent sitting is a big reason why my office is open. You know, from a young age, and you know, and then like I said, you're working 12-hour shifts. What time did your shift begin usually when you?
When I worked on the road, it was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And yeah, I mean, and then you know how much, and you got up like at what time did you get up? Probably
4:30ish.
Jeez, so-
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, long day. And there we go. Yeah, a little too restricted up here. When the upper neck gets too stiff, the lower neck overworks, and so, you know, sort of being cognizant of this area, keeping this area moving. You know, I grew up with I thought everybody had a chiropractor as a father. You know, I was a homeschooled chiropractor kid. You know, I don't think people realize what it's like to, you know, from a young age being constantly aware when we lifted things. My dad would go, careful, protect your back. You know, we were constantly aware of our spine and, you know, and what not to do, what to do. And there we go. Yeah, I thought when you like became a father, like at the hospital, they gave you like instructions on how to take care of your child. Like, you know, here's how you check its temperature. This is what you do to take it in for service. You know, it's got an 18-year warranty. You know, but you know, people just base everything on pain or symptoms. You know, and there's no real education on how do we prevent things from happening, and how do we set people up for success in the long term. I remember being a kid, and you know, I got adjusted whenever I got a headache, and I remember being at a friend's house and he had a headache, and he was like, well, my dad gives me candy when I get sick, when I get a headache. And I'm like, what the heck? You get candy when you get... And it was like Tylenol or Advil or something. And I was like, what in the world? Like, my dad doesn't give me anything. I'm getting ripped off here. Go ahead and describe, did you say you had a car accident?
Yeah, I was stopped at a red light, and the lady behind me wasn't paying attention and didn't see us stopped and ran into the back of me. So she was going about 30 or 40 miles an hour, and I was dead stopped.
Dead stopped.
Yep. Hit me so hard I bent my steering wheel.
I remember seeing pictures. That was the Impala, right? That was the, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so whatever alignment that you're in, or whatever part of your back is doing the most motion before the accident is what receives all the force. And so typically most Americans, your neck, from years of having to do patrolling and all that, your lower neck was already probably loose before that accident, and then when you get whiplashed, more force goes into your lower neck, and then that causes your head to want to go into avoidance, so your neck goes forward. It typically feels better to, and so, I don't know, your posture changes as a result of these injuries. So keeping your body upright is a good position for longevity. I think about strength and flexibility are the two pieces. You want strength for support, but you also need flexibility so that it wears evenly. If you're bench pressing, you need a stiff back and strong arms to bench press, but for longevity you want, like, I'd probably be a terrible football player, right? Gumby would suck on the, he's not putting enough force into the other players, but if your back is a 2x4, it's really powerful. You can probably push a lot of force into somebody else's body, but I would be curious about the longevity. I think of like the Hall of Fame for football, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, these guys don't look the healthiest. Coming out canes, and I'm like, I don't know. Is this really what we should be doing? I think of like a ram's spine, an animal that was actually designed to, butt heads with another animal. Their spine is designed differently than our spine, and I would make an argument that if we were designed to be using our necks as, or heads as battering rams, our spine would look like a ram's. Interlocking segments and able to push forces into. Our spine seems to be designed with the idea of range of motion, protection. I think it was designed to protect the spinal cord, but also have a good amount of range of motion. So those things are probably a little duality there, right? If you want more protection, you don't let anything move, right? You put rods in the back to fuse it, or the more stabilized something is, the more you tighten the muscles or stiffen the joints, the more protected it is, but you don't have much range of motion. So it kind of was designed with a purpose of mobility and protection. All right, yeah, it just needs some time to. There we go. Get your head back. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Get to those upper traps in a minute. Yeah. Oh, no, nothing to see here. Occipital condyle a little bit, just up here. All the muscles in your neck attach up here on the occiput. Most of the spinal muscles do, and so these attachments get more inflamed the more your head goes forward, and so we're trying to push down the roots here, push them back down onto the occiput. Tendon attachments aren't really something that self-resolve. You have to push them back down. I had a patient earlier with Achilles tendon that was inflamed, and I'm like, you have to push it back down. It won't, a tree won't stand itself back upright. You have to bring the tree back upright and then stomp the roots back down underneath the ground. You have to push these attachments back down. All right, I'm just going to go real gentle. I got you, brother. Give you a little tap here on this left side, right there. Focus right there. There you go. Let it go. There you go. There we go. Good. I know. That was fun. All right, a little bit more raised right there on the left lower. Pretty even. Maybe a little bit here and a little bit sort of crosses over. Yeah, something I was thinking about earlier. I had a patient the other day who was 70 years old, and I had an MRI of their spine, and L1, it said just one word. It said unremarkable. The areas that are being braced, like by your vest, said unremarkable. L2, it said unremarkable. L3, L4 still said unremarkable. And then the last two guys had like a paragraph describing everything that was in L4 and L5, like, spondylosis and retrolisthesis and bone spurring and bilateral foraminal stenosis, all these big words to describe what they saw. And I was thinking, if a person makes it to 70 years old and your skin or your vision or your hearing or if any part of your body looked like 20 years old, does that make sense? Wouldn't that be remarkable? Right? If you're 70 years old and your skin looked the same as when you were 20, right? Wouldn't that be astounding? People would be asking you, how in the world did you not, how does your skin still look the same as when you were a kid? Right? What in the world, what kind of cream have you been using? The fact that a person can get to 70 years old and part of their back not have any signs of aging, to me, is remarkable. But on the MRI report, it says, because it doesn't have any disease, they say it's unremarkable. And I go, if you don't understand why that area is unremarkable, then you'll never understand why L4 and L5 are so remarkable, right? All the things that have happened down there. And so I always ask people, I'm like, you got to have an explanation from your doctor about why most of the spine, about 80% of the spine, is, quote, unremarkable. And in your case, it's just these areas are, it's not required to be, a phenomenal officer, but have these areas moving. You understand? It wasn't required. And you can run your spine just on 20% of it. 20% of your back can do 80, 90% of the work. And that's all this is. It's just, being aware of these younger areas, being aware of the areas that are stiff, getting them working, taking the burden off the areas that are overworked and over abused, and then not, to me, labeling them as diseases. Well, you have I have a disc injury in my lower back. It's a disease. They call it degenerative disc disease. I'm like, if I take a piece of bacon and I cook it, right? If I put a piece of bacon on a stove and it's soft and flexible, right? And then I cook it, it becomes hard and dried out and crispy. Does anybody ever say that the bacon is diseased? Oh my gosh, you just diseased that piece of bacon. No, you cooked it, right? You heated it up to, 400 degrees and, cooked the meat. In the same way, the disc, when it's been abused, dries out just like a piece of bacon. It becomes desiccated is the medical word. And so how do we prevent that? Well, balance the spine. So yeah, if I'm going too much, just let me know.
No, go for it.
Okay, all right. He said it. You heard it. I got it on recording.
For now.
You beat up that poor officer.
I'm watching his hands to see how it gets really bad. As they start to tense up, I'm like, okay.
Stop damaging my upholstery down there. What is it?
She knocked that metal piece right off.
Right. Keep whacking that. Lovely. Yeah, that's just totally lovely in there. Yes. I love that song. Right there, yeah. Aren't you gonna get tired yet? No, I do this all day long. Like people that come in like at 6:45, like hoping that Ed's gonna be empty on his gas tank. Like, yeah, it's good.
That doesn't happen.
It's 6:45. There's no way he's still got the energy left. Like, I see what you're trying to do.
It's called a second one.
So the facets and the spine are right here, and then the rib heads lie right alongside the outer part. So these are the ribs that have been braced, and they found, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but they took rats and they paralyzed them, and they aspirated the joint fluid every day. They took like a sample from the joint, and then they found within 10 days of a rat being paralyzed, and don't ask me why rat physiology is similar to ours. I always use mice and rats. They said that the joints became frozen. Does that make sense? They actually had crystals were forming inside of a joint that doesn't move. And it happens fairly quickly. You know, within about 10 days or definitely less than a month. If you don't move these joints, Hayden, that makes sense? They will become frozen.
Oh yeah.
So like, what the heck, Ed? How did they get so sore and stiff? It's like, well, if you're wearing a vest, then they lock down fairly quickly, and then like frozen shoulder, my diagnosis is frozen middle back, but that's not a diagnosis somebody can Google. Ed, I Googled that. I couldn't find frozen middle back on Google. Okay, it's in my book that I'm writing. You know, this area has become frozen, and because this is frozen, then it's unremarkable because it's not aging, and so these ribs aid in, you know, another joint, another mouth to feed that's stiffened in here, so keeping these areas moving.
Oh yeah, right there.
Just kidding. You're not smart.
Do the when you can really smile at the end. Right there. Put you on the spot. What's the craziest thing you've seen in your years of up in the helicopter or down on the ground or either?
Oh, there's so much crazy that happens that it's kind of all runs together.
Okay.
I mean, there's not so much crazy, but just the cool stuff that we get to see every day. The people helping people and the people that actually do care about other people out there. That's surprising.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's
some hope out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to distract you. It's not working, Ed. All I can think about is that elbow.
your workout plan.
Look at all this. And how quickly the mark comes out also sort of lets you know how much is in there. You know, the acidity of the tissue from the area is supposed to clean itself through the mobility, and so when the area becomes restricted, it more, you know, easily traps and contains the cellular exhaust or waste. You must do an Epsom salt bath.
Yeah.
When you get home, I want you soaking, and then that'll. Is your pool salt?
It is, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just get in that for a half hour.
All right, perfect.
That'd be the best, actually. Forget the salt bath. Just maybe an hour, just soak in that, and that'll. You know, it causes a sweating event. Essentially, you sweat out water, and then with it, you take all of this lactic acid that's trapped in the muscles, and drink extra water. Bring some water into the pool and drink some water, but that'll pull all this out of here. You can somewhat notice as I get closer to your lower back, there's less and less marks coming out because the movement of the area actually keeps it cleaning itself. The tighter the area is, the more trapped the tissue gets. Working this iliac crest here. All the muscles, a lot of muscles attach here on this iliac crest. Just trying to push these. Can't have any soreness in here. And then how much is the belt? I didn't talk about the belt yet. I mean, that was like, what, 20-something pounds?
It's about 20 pounds, I think, yeah.
Uh-huh. It's not corner balanced exactly either. It's like...
No, it's usually more heavy on the weapon side than the other side.
We actually use, in some techniques in chiropractic, they actually use a belt with weights, you know, spaced around it to actually change someone's posture purposefully. You know, and to just, you know, no, we all put this belt on, and it's just, you know, you will change your alignment by wearing that. It's like your body, so wherever the heaviest weight is, essentially that gets pulled in. So if you have a heavy weight on the right front part of your body actually pulls that. Does that make sense? It pulls the right front in towards the center, and your torso goes over it.
Okay.
So it's your body always tries to center weight. So wherever the heaviest weight would be, if you put a weight on the front of your head, your body actually pulls the head back to center the head over the shoulders. So if somebody's hip was, say, over to the right, you would put a weight over here, and then your body would pull it in, and you would actually center someone's posture up by putting weights on them. Why don't you do that, Ed? Well, there's something to it. You could. My dad used to do that. We used to have people on treadmills in here. We put weights on them. Does that make sense? Then we had them walk on a treadmill for 20 minutes. The main thing I think about with any type of weight type retraining is that, you know, you're still putting stress on the spine. You know, so you are benefiting the posture, but does that make sense? You're still compressing the spine, and so it's like it's why I massage people laying down, and why I think seated massage can be a little more difficult in the sense that anything that's still tight on your back, Hayden, is because of injury. Does that make sense? Or protection.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
If someone's posture is forward, and if you massage somebody in an upright position, how can I tell if a muscle is just tight from bad posture versus protection?
Right.
Does that make sense? So, you know, I'll see people getting massaged in an upright chair. The muscles are tight because of the bad posture, you know, so maybe there's an injury, and there very well could be, but how do I separate the two? And so it's like, I think of it like a car mechanic. They lift your car up in the air and they take the weight off the suspension. You have to take the weight off of the frame to examine it. Anyway. Yeah, right there a little bit. Oh, that's iliac crest. How quickly that came out. There's a lot of tension in there. And then, high school, you played sports a lot, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, I played some baseball and volleyball in high school.
Okay. What position in baseball?
First base.
First base, okay.
Yeah.
Best position, that's right.
Oh yeah, least running.
That's the least running and most action. indoor volleyball or outdoor?
Indoor.
Indoor volleyball. Gotcha. Remember my first year of practice, I had a girl plays beach volleyball, and I'm out there, and I was just there to support her, and I don't know, somehow my word got around that I was there, and they were like, is there a chiropractor here? Can you please come to the front, please? I was like, oh boy, maybe somebody needs their neck adjusted, or maybe, somebody's atlas is stiff. And I get over there, a guy, I don't know, a ball had been spiked, and he tried to block it or something like that, and his pinky finger was like 45 degrees bent to the side, and he's looking at me like, just relocate it, man, it's just dislocated, just relocate my finger. And I'm thinking, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool, to just relocate this finger, just like on the television shows, just like in the movies, and just, and I'm feeling his finger, and I'm, there's kind of a bump on the opposite side, and I'm thinking, man, this feels like a break. And my lawyer starts popping up in my mind, take a picture, get an x-ray. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to relocate it. Let's get you to my office and let me take an x-ray. Sure enough, he's got like a spiral fracture of his pinky. I gave him his x-ray and dropped him off at the hospital. Yeah, just hold yourself. I got your leg. I got you. There you go. Good. Nice. Yeah. Nice.
What was that?
I got you. Relax your leg. Good. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and tilt your head to the left a little bit for me. I think you've already gone club. A little bit. Oh. Go ahead and tilt your head left.
Are you ripping my ear off? What's going on?
Just tilt your head left. Good. Don't tilt your head left yet. Wait a second. Go ahead and tilt your head to the right a little bit for me. There we go. Good. Okay, good.
Can you
I don't even know what just happened to me.
All right, let me.
What did it feel like?
That's
It felt like.
like the weirdest thing ever. Yeah, like you were stretching my ear out, like Play-Doh. Stretching.
You live randomly in disguise. Freak you out.
Okay. There we go. A little bit. Let me breathe. Nope, sorry, no breathing. There it is. Oh, we got it. There it was. Right there. Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, excellent.
Whatever you say.
It feels excellent.
Trying to check, see if I think we've already got all the movement.
Okay,
So I'll just check here. I think we got them all. There's nothing. He's as loosened up as I can. He's. The only other move would be.
Oh, can he handle it? Oh, sorry.
I got you. Relax. I got you. I'm not gonna give you too much. Breathe. Okay, I got you. Good. If you can survive this office, life's now a joke. All right, that's good. That wasn't too bad. So, suit yourself, Ed.
You weren't the one getting bent in half.
He met me the other way. Yeah, she.
Yeah, you did me good, Ed. Thanks.